So our special debate tonight, how should India respond? Is this about racism and discrimination in a sense when you single out diplomats who are wearing a sari or donning a turban? Or is it simply the United States of America following its own regulations? Regulations that, by the way, apply to its own diplomats as well. Let's get straight into our debate. Let me start with Ambassador Ronan Sen, who has been ambassador to the United States as well. Ambassador Sen, do you believe that the Indian response has been measured and appropriate, or do you believe that there's an element of overreaction in our response?
I think so. I think it has been measured and appropriate, and both these incidents are very deplorable, and particularly being singled out for what they call this enhanced security checks is something which is it's a fairly traumatic experience. My wife and I, we have been through this since our first arrival in the United States in 2004 and till last year, till I came back. I can take it, professionally, but it was fairly demeaning, for us, not just as persons, but knowingly. They knew that we were representing a country, and it's not just ambassadors, but it's actually it's been experienced by cabinet ministers, but they are very hesitant to give any clearance for former heads of state or government. Across the board, it's been pretty stringent and pretty inflexible, and now all the more so with this additional very intrusive screening which has just been introduced, which has actually frankly caused outrage within the United States itself.
Right, that is correct. In fact, many Americans upset with this new intrusive body search, Ambassador Sen. But before I go to my other guests, you mentioned interestingly that you and your wife have both experienced this kind of intrusive frisking. When you complained, what is the response you got from the Americans?
Absolutely, we raised it, and this issue was raised repeatedly, and it was pointed out by them rightly, because I checked with my diplomatic colleagues. There was no discrimination in that way, in the sense of people were not singled out on a country-specific basis. It was across the board. I checked with my European colleagues. I knew some ministers, because I used to be in London earlier and in Bonn and Berlin earlier. So I happen to know some ministers of those countries who were also subjected to similar screening, and they were addressed as by their designation and pulled out of the line. And this applied to one very senior Israeli minister also. So it's been it's in that sense non-discriminatory. At the same time, I think that having said that, we should not limit ourselves to bringing this to the attention of people at an appropriate level, but we should actually take some measures in a calibrated manner without being country specific, because I've encountered not these additional security measures, but normal screening in many other countries as well, in spite of being ambassador, and this is in other countries where I've been posted. So we should do a global survey, and then if we take any action, it should be carefully calibrated and thought out, and not a knee-jerk reaction. Baraka.